Welcome back to The Deep Dive, the place where we give you the ultimate shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're tackling something pretty significant, a challenge facing anyone serious about building their own digital community. You know, the kind of proprietary, robust network that really defines this whole Web4 movement.
Right. And the challenge is structural, isn't it? Once your network scales, once it starts handling millions of interactions, suddenly you don't just have a community, you've got this massive data explosion.
Exactly, an explosion. And that overload creates this desperate need for two things: real-time insight and, well, precise operational control.
Yeah, it's the classic scaling problem, but it feels amplified, I think, by just the sheer volume and, frankly, the unstructured nature of social data. You can't really guide or protect what you don't instantly understand. And trying to understand petabytes of proprietary community stuff, that used to require, an engineering team the size of a small country.
Right, no kidding. So that's why we're diving into this crucial report on Linkspreed's Web4.community platform today. Specifically, we're looking at their V3.1 release, and our sources are really emphasizing that this isn't just some minor software patch.
No, not at all. It feels more like a complete philosophical commitment to intelligent, data-driven governance.
Yeah, Linkspreed is basically taking these tools that used to be exclusive to the tech giants.
Like the ability to query really complex data using just plain English.
Exactly. And putting them directly into the hands of the network owners, the people actually building their own digital spaces.
Which truly marks a critical inflection point, I think, for decentralized governance. So our mission today is really to unpack how this Linkspreed V3.1 update addresses those two key needs of any modern digital ecosystem.
Okay.
We're looking at high-level intelligence, deep, actionable understanding via real-time data interpretation. And then practical, control the operational flexibility you need to manage infrastructure and guide the network, especially during critical moments.
And they're tackling these with two strategically vital features, but they're quite different conceptually. First, there's the Conversational AI Database Chat. That's the intelligence piece.
Right.
And second, the strategic network pausing capability. That's the control.
And this deep dive, it's really designed to give you the blueprint for understanding how these pretty sophisticated tools empower community owners, empower them to move beyond just basic moderation. It lets you maximize engagement, surgically optimize resources, and ensure the long-term health and resilience of these Web4 communities you're building.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the brains of the operation. Intelligence Unleashed, specifically that Conversational AI Database Chat.
Yeah, we can definitely call the AI Database Chat the flagship innovation in this V3.1 release. It's solving a problem that's plagued proprietary social networks forever.
Which is?
The data's there, right?
Yeah.
But actually getting to it, it's slow, it's high friction. Community owners are sitting on literally petabytes of interaction logs, user profiles, content metadata.
All this potentially valuable stuff.
Exactly. But retrieving specific cross-sectional insights, that required specialized technical staff, usually dedicated data scientists, writing complex code.
Right. So if I'm, say, the head of community development, and I need a big picture view of, user behavior around a new feature, I can't just ask for it. I have to write a ticket, try to define parameters for a SQL query I might not even fully understand, and then wait for IT to hopefully process it sometime this week. It just kills momentum.
It totally does. And the AI chat promises to just cut out that entire slow manual process.
Okay.
It's bridging the gap between, ambiguous human language, what we call semantic intent, and the really rigid structure of a complex relational database. This effectively turns the network's entire data repository, no matter how big it is, into an immediate conversational partner.
A conversational partner for your database.
Yeah. And that's not just a convenience. It's a really profound operational shift towards data democratization.
That sounds fantastic. Almost too good to be true. But let's be critical for a second. Translating fuzzy human intent into machine-precise code, especially SQL, that's notoriously hard.
It is.
So how does Linkspreed handle the complexity of these massive proprietary schemas without, generating slow queries or, worse, just flat-out wrong ones?
Right. That's the key question. And that's where the technical rigor comes in. Linkspreed built this multi-stage process. It starts with the foundation. The system first does a deep analysis of the network's entire database schema and metadata.
Okay.
It needs to know not just the table names like users, posts, moderation actions, but the context, the metadata, and crucially, the relationships between all the fields.
So it basically learns the unique internal language and architecture of this specific community's infrastructure.
Exactly, which then allows for the next step.
Mm-hmm.
The integrated large language model, the LLM, is then specifically fine-tuned on this architecture. They often call this proprietary RAG, or retrieval augmented generation.
RAG.
And this training, it goes beyond just standard linguistic understanding. It has to understand the specific contextual meaning of community terms. Things like high engagement post, or churn rate, or first-time contributor, but within the context of your network's actual data structure.
That makes sense. So it's not just generic language, it's language tied to the data. The real challenge, though, comes when it has to execute right.
Absolutely.
Let's walk through the process flow using that gaming example from the sources. I'm the director. I need a strategic insight.
Okay, so use natural language input.
Mm-hmm.
You might type in a query that's highly semantic, maybe quite strategic, like show me a year-over-year comparison of new user signups, A&D content creation frequency in the gaming subgroup.
Okay, that's already complex.
Specifically focusing on users who registered via our Q4 marketing campaign.
Wow. Okay, that sounds like a 5-part query. You're joining multiple tables, marketing logs, user accounts, content metadata, subgroups.
Easily.
In standard BI tools, that's like half a day's work for a skilled coder, maybe more.
It absolutely is. So the LLM's job is to immediately translate that semantic request into a complex but also highly optimized SQL query. And critically, the system isn't just designed to get the syntax right. It has to optimize the execution path.
Because with petabytes of data.
Exactly. A poorly written query can just cripple the server. Linkspreed says they ensure the query uses the right indices, avoids inefficient full table scans, basically guaranteeing both accuracy and speed.
Okay, accuracy and speed. And then the output isn't just raw data, right? This is where the human-in-the-loop intelligence part comes in.
Correct. That third step is really critical. Data synthesis and presentation. The AI applies that contextual understanding it learned, and it synthesizes the results. So it might generate, say, a brief paragraph summarizing the trend, like signups increased 20% UAOI, but content frequency dropped 5%.
Okay, clear summary.
Then it provides the exact supporting numbers. And maybe most powerfully, it suggests an intelligent follow-up query.
So it anticipates your next question, like, would you like to analyze whether that drop in content creation frequency correlates with the implementation of the new mandatory content tag system?
Precisely. It anticipates the next logical business question, and that is the aha moment for governance. Suddenly, data access is democratized, friction is basically eliminated, and critical insights become available in seconds, not weeks.
Available to anyone with the right permissions, presumably, from a junior mod to the CEO.
That's the promise. But you raised a crucial point. Permissions. We absolutely have to talk security.
Yeah, if the AI is trained on the entire proprietary database schema, what stops someone from getting unauthorized access to sensitive or restricted data just by crafting a clever chat prompt?
It's a fundamental concern, and the sources addressed it directly. Linkspreed confirmed that the AI operations are rigorously governed by the user's established administrative permissions.
How does that work in practice?
Well, the system verifies the user's access rights
Yeah.
before it even generates or executes the SQL query. So if a user's role is restricted from accessing, let's say, raw IP logs or sensitive financial data,
Right.
the AI will just return error or maybe state that the requested data is restricted. It effectively prevents privilege escalation through, linguistic ingenuity.
Good. That's reassuring. So the intelligence is powerful, but it respects the established chain of command.
Okay, now that we have this instant intelligent access, let's dive into those 10 key strategic benefits this unlocks for community owners.
All right, we're moving now into the so what section. We're grouping these 10 benefits thematically. Let's start with section 2A, community health, moderation, and user experience.
Makes sense. We start here because fundamentally a network's health dictates its viability, right?
Absolutely.
So the first benefit is instant moderation insights. Community safety gets accelerated from just reactive cleanup to hopefully proactive defense.
And this is where the specificity seems like a real game changer. Instead of just looking at dashboards showing total reports filed.
Right, which is often too little too late.
A manager can instantly query something like, which 5 users have triggered the most moderation reports in the last 48 hours, and what percentage of their content was flagged as spam, maybe broken down by the type of infraction?
Yeah, that level of granularity in real time is pretty much unprecedented for most platforms. It means response times are drastically cut, And critically, you're not waiting until the end of the day, or worse, the end of the week, to spot a coordinated attack or a troll campaign starting up.
You can identify the vector of attack and the systemic issue almost as it unfolds.
Exactly, which is crucial for protecting the cultural bedrock of your digital space.
I like that phrase, cultural bedrock, and I appreciate the emphasis on proactively identifying systemic issues, not just swatting individual flies. Okay, moving on to benefit number 2, enhanced member support and FAQs. The traditional support model is often a huge bottleneck.
It really is. And this AI, it fundamentally changes the approach. You shift from just reactive ticket closing to proactive knowledge-based creation.
How does it do that?
Well, the AI identifies these structural knowledge gaps by aggregating and summarizing user-generated questions across all the channels, forums, DMs, comment sections, even support tickets.
Ah, okay. So if hundreds of users across multiple places are asking 5 slightly different versions of the same question about, say, data portability,
Right.
the AI sees that pattern and identifies the unified root cause.
Precisely. Which then allows the community management team to instantly create really high relevance, preemptive FAQ content, or maybe a quick video tutorial, content that addresses the real user pain points before they escalated to full support tickets.
Which not only improves user satisfaction, presumably.
Hugely. But it also significantly reduces the overall support ticket load. That frees up your support staff for the more complex, personalized issues that actually need a human touch.
Yeah, that reduction in support staff load is a quantifiable ROI right there. Okay, and the third benefit under this section focuses on improved user experience UX analysis. This stuff is often elusive, isn't it? Because tracking multi-step behavior usually requires complex logging and correlation.
Right. Complex behavioral issues often hide in the noise of the data.
Yeah.
But the AI allows product teams to ask these direct, operational behavioral questions. For example, what is the average number of steps a user takes between landing on our mobile homepage and successfully completing their first profile setup?
Okay.
And segment that by device type, say, iOS versus Android.
That's a fantastic question. It directly measures onboarding friction and even points towards potential technical dependencies.
Exactly. If the answer comes back as like 15 steps on Android but only 5 on iOS, you know exactly where to prioritize your development resources for the highest impact redesign.
It quantifies the friction.
Yes.
Yeah.
It moves UX analysis out of that kind of abstract qualitative realm, it just feels complicated arguments, and puts it squarely into objective, data-driven design, which helps ensure the digital spaces built on this Linkspreed platform are as seamless to join as they are rewarding to participate in. Okay, so now let's shift gears a bit. Section 2B, focusing on content, strategy, and growth. This is where that AI intelligence directly translates into, well, competitive advantage and hopefully revenue optimization.
First up is hyper-personalized content strategy. We all know relevance is king in today's noisy digital world, but achieving that relevance at scale, that's a huge organizational lift.
It really is. But the AI here enables this kind of surgical precision by segmenting and analyzing consumption habits based on, crucially, the ultimate outcomes. The key example we noted in the sources tied content consumption directly to conversion, moving beyond just simple engagement metrics like clicks or likes.
Right, so instead of just optimizing content for the average user who sticks around the longest,
Yeah, the sticky user.
you optimize for the most valuable user, the one who actually converts to, say, a paying member.
Absolutely. You can query things like, identify the top 3 content formats consumed by users who convert to paying premium members within 60 days.
Okay.
And maybe list the average time they spent on each of those formats.
Wow, that allows content teams to immediately stop guessing or stop publishing content that just drives traffic and start creating content that demonstrably drives maximum conversion effectiveness.
Yes. It offers a transparent, data-backed ROI for essentially every piece of content produced. That's powerful.
Very powerful. Okay, the next benefit is rapid trend and sentiment identification. Now, we've been able to track basic sentiment, positive, negative, for years, right? But this capability sounds like it goes much deeper.
It does. It connects sentiment directly to specific operational events or features. So, for instance, say you just rolled out a major infrastructure change or maybe a controversial new privacy feature to your user base.
Okay, bound to get reactions.
Right. An organization can ask the AI, analyze all public and private posts from the last 72 hours regarding feature X, and provide a sentiment score and a summary, specifically grouping the feedback by, say, geographical region and user tier, like free versus premium users.
That gives you critical, immediate geopolitical and economic insight into how that feature is being received.
Exactly. If the feedback is overwhelmingly negative in, say, the Japanese market,
Yeah.
but positive elsewhere.
That feature likely needs immediate localization review or maybe revision based on specific cultural norms or technical needs there.
It turns all that raw, decentralized feedback into actionable, location-specific directives for your product development teams. It gives the network owner an unparalleled advantage in adapting to market demands almost instantaneously.
Adapting in near real time.
And finally, under this growth theme, we have historical data analysis for growth. This sounds like it's about democratizing and preserving institutional knowledge.
Which is a massive challenge for any scaling organization, isn't it?
Definitely. Institutional memory, that wisdom gained from past failures and successes, it often gets lost when key staff leave. Or during leadership transitions, it just disappears into forgotten log files or people's heads. The AI here functions as a kind of instant knowledge transfer system. So new leadership, maybe onboarding in their first week, they could query something like, summarize the 3 most successful user acquisition strategies employed in Q2 of last year.
Okay.
List the top 3 features used by that successful cohort, and maybe even provide a contact list for the campaign managers involved.
Wow, that gives them incredibly rapid, deep historical context. They can bypass potentially months of interviews and manual log diving.
Right. They immediately understand what the organization achieved previously, why a specific cohort was successful, what features drove that success.
And crucially, it prevents the organization from unknowingly repeating expensive past mistakes.
Exactly. It learns from history instantly.
Okay, moving to our final section of benefits, Section 2C. This is where we connect the AI intelligence directly to business, compliance, and overall efficiency.
Right. And this is the section, I think, that really elevates the Linkspreed platform from just being a social networking tool to becoming more of an enterprise-grade governance solution.
Yeah.
The first benefit here, and arguably the most crucial for executives, is data-driven business decisions. Specifically, linking activity metrics directly to financial outcomes.
So we're talking about eliminating the gut feelings and replacing them with hard evidence for prioritizing features or initiatives.
Precisely. For large-scale enterprise deployments, the executive layer needs immediate answers to operational questions that tie directly to the bottom line. They could potentially query, if we were to double the visibility of the premium content group on the front page for, say, 90 days, what has been the historical uplift in monthly recurring revenue, MRR, based on similar visibility increases in the past?
And the AI could answer that.
Based on historical data, yes. You'd get an immediate, evidence-based recommendation on the potential revenue uplift. That allows for much more objective resource allocation, rather than just betting on hunches.
That removes a huge amount of ambiguity from strategic planning. Okay, now let's address the elephant in the room for any globally operating network. Automated compliance and auditing. This sounds incredibly powerful, but also potentially risky. Can a business truly trust an AI to handle complex legal tasks like compliance reporting?
It's a very necessary question. And look, compliance reports traditionally are incredibly time-consuming. They require highly trained staff to manually pull, format, verify data across different jurisdictions. It's painful.
And prone to human error.
Absolutely. The AI here automates the generation of these reports. That dramatically mitigates the risk of human error and, importantly, delay.
But what about the liability? I mean, if the AI generates a report and it's wrong, who's ultimately responsible?
That's critical. The sources are clear. The AI transforms these traditionally manual legal tasks into instantaneous reports that demonstrate internal adherence to policy. It shows you what your systems say. So, for example, a legal team could audit specific regulatory aspects by asking, generate a list of all user data retention records that currently exceed the 90-day retention policy in the EU region.
Okay.
And identify the deletion status of each of those records. The AI pulls the data instantly. It shows you where you are compliant according to your data and where you might have gaps. The final sign-off, the legal interpretation, the action taken that still remains with the human compliance officer.
Ah, okay. So the AI is more like a super-powered compliance assistant, not the compliance officer itself.
Exactly. That clarification is vital. It handles the aggregation, the grunt work, but not the final judgment. This ensures rigorous, speedy adherence checks against global laws like GDPR, CCPA, and others.
Got it. Okay, the 9th benefit tackles overall workflow efficiency, reduce staff load and dependency.
Yeah, this targets that classic institutional bottleneck. Think about every time a department head needed a quick ad hoc report, a query that maybe took a technical staff member hours or even a full day. to write, run, and format.
That workload just gets absorbed by the AI.
That's the idea, which means your most talented technical staff, the folks maintaining the platform, building new features, planning strategically, they're no longer stuck being report monkeys.
Right. Frees them up for higher value work.
Exactly. It significantly minimizes those bottlenecks and frees up high-value engineering and data science expertise to focus on core strategic development and infrastructure improvements instead of just fulfilling routine reporting requests. That's a massive operational saving in terms of person hours.
Absolutely. And finally, the 10th benefit. This one's potentially the most exciting from a pure business perspective. New monetization and service opportunities. This turns the AI from just a cost center or an efficiency tool into potentially a direct revenue stream.
Absolutely. Yeah. Businesses managing large Linkspreed networks, particularly maybe those running white label communities for big brands or organizations, they can now potentially package these insights and sell them. They could offer, say, AI-powered data briefings as a bespoke, high-value consulting service to their clients.
Interesting. Or even internally, maybe they could offer a premium data access subscription tier to their own paying members.
Yeah. Give those members access to advanced analytical queries about the community that non-paying members just don't get.
So the integrated LLM itself becomes the strategic asset capable of generating entirely new revenue streams. You turn deep data access into a highly prized, marketable feature of your platform.
Exactly. It's moving intelligence from an internal tool to an external product.
Okay, that comprehensively covers the intelligence pillar. But as we said right at the top, data intelligence is only really useful if you also have the operational levers to actually act on it. Which brings us neatly to part 3, strategic control through this new network pausing feature.
Right. The network pausing feature is Linkspreed's acknowledgement that sometimes, well, the best action is no action, or at least controlled non-action. It's their answer, really, to the critical need for administrative control and operational resilience, especially during infrastructure changes or even potentially cultural crises within the community.
And it's crucial to understand this is much more sophisticated than just, hitting the off switch and shutting down a server. Right?
Whoa, absolutely. Yeah. If I hit the pause button, the lights don't just go out. It's a highly managed, controlled transition.
How does it work technically?
It's a deliberate transition to a read-only maintenance state. When it's activated, the platform dynamically reconfigures API endpoints and server settings. The result is what they call the front-end lockdown. Basically, all user-initiated write operations, think PIST requests for new content, PUT requests for edits, delete requests, those are disabled for non-administrator users.
Okay, so users just see a maintenance page.
Yeah, or a customizable banner explaining the strategic pause. So the community state is effectively locked in perfect time, preventing any further interaction, good or bad.
That stops the flow, but what's happening behind the scenes?
Well, this is the deeper technical benefit. Data integrity. Even though regular users can't write new content, the database connection remains open for administrator read access and also for specific administrative write functions if needed.
Ah, so the admins can still work.
Right. This allows technical teams to perform critical tasks like data backups, maybe complex migrations, comprehensive integrity checks, or even run deep security scans. Without the inherent risk of concurrent user write operations, corrupting the data, or just interfering with these complex, maybe long-running processes.
That ability to guarantee a static state must be invaluable during major infrastructure surgery. It prevents those nightmare data loss scenarios.
Absolutely. And there's actually a surprisingly straightforward financial advantage tied to this feature too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a significant one regarding cost efficiency. For networks that experience predictable downtime, or maybe they're highly seasonal.
Like educational platforms or event-based communities.
Exactly. Think about massive server farms just sitting idle for months. The operational savings here could be really measurable. For an extended pause, the network can be configured to transition to a much lower cost static hosting configuration. This dramatically reduces the server resources required just to maintain that read-only state.
So if you're running, say, an educational platform with a 9-month community program that shuts down for the summer, pausing it for those 3 months could translate directly to significant savings on operational server and computation costs.
Huge savings. That's a big boost for budget optimization, especially for those mid-sized organizations leveraging Linkspreed who maybe don't have infinite cloud budgets.
Okay, so let's look at the operational flexibility this provides through some detailed use cases, beyond just saving money on seasonal costs. First, the obvious one, scheduled maintenance and migrations.
Right. This is the zero data loss scenario we talked about.
The peace of mind use case.
Exactly. Whether you're doing a major database sharding operation, migrating to a completely new cloud provider, or deploying a massive system-wide architecture update, the pause ensures you have a pristine, static environment to work in. It just eliminates the risk inherent in performing deep technical surgery while dealing with potentially thousands of concurrent write requests from users.
Okay, makes total sense. The second use case, as you mentioned, is that temporary and seasonal hiatus, providing budget relief.
Yeah, this is ideal for those fixed-cycle communities. Think brand campaign platforms that run for 3 months, or maybe product launch communities that only need to be fully operational for a limited time. Pausing the network for the dormant period lets those teams reallocate their overhead, their budget, their mental resources, ensuring efficiency without having to completely dismantle the underlying infrastructure each time.
Right, it preserves the setup for next time. Okay, the third case sounds vital for risk mitigation, data archiving and auditing.
Extremely vital. Legal and financial requirements often demand a precise, fixed snapshot of the network's data at a specific moment in time. Enforcing a read-only state via the pause function captures a perfect, unalterable snapshot of all content and metadata at that point.
Which is non-negotiable for things like
Legal holds, external financial auditing, or even just creating a permanent certified archive of the community's digital history for compliance or posterity.
Okay. Now let's dive deep into maybe the most profound and definitely the most non-technical application of this feature, the strategic reset. This sounds like it's about cultural engineering.
It really is. This is the ultimate administrative lever for cultural intervention. Imagine a community, despite the best efforts of moderation, just spirals into a sustained state of toxicity, maybe due to a really contentious political debate or organized harassment campaigns or just rampant flame wars.
Yeah, we've all seen communities go down that path.
Right. And that negativity can quickly destroy the network's long-term value and purpose. A pause, in this context, becomes a strategic intervention, the circuit breaker.
You literally stop the cultural bleeding. You break the momentum of the toxicity.
A planned pause, maybe 24 hours, maybe 72 hours, it sends an unmistakable signal to the entire user base that things have gone too far. But crucially, it also provides the leadership team with a necessary window. A window to step back, analyze the situation, perhaps using the AI data chat we discussed earlier.
Right, use the intelligence tool.
Review the policy effectiveness, maybe restructure the moderation teams, implement new, stricter governance models, and do all of this without the constant pressure of live, escalating user interactions muddying the waters.
And then when they restart, they're doing so with a clear message and potentially reformed structures, promoting a healthier, hopefully more sustainable, long-term community culture.
Yes, enforced by a clear demonstration of administrative control and seriousness. It's actually an incredibly powerful tool, I think, for enforcing digital peace and ensuring the ongoing viability of your proprietary network when things go really wrong.
Wow. Okay, this has been an incredibly comprehensive deep dive. If we zoom out for a second, what Linkspreed's V3.1 update seems to be delivering is this fundamental dual commitment to sophistication. Intelligence via the conversational AI chat, and control via the network pausing capability.
Yeah, the platform is clearly solidifying its position by, on one hand, turning complex data interpretation into this intuitive, almost instantaneous conversation. Insights are now democratized across the organization, and then simultaneously, the network pausing feature provides that really essential strategic lever for sound operational governance, cost management, and critically, that cultural resilience when the community faces serious internal pressure.
So the builders, the people using Linkspreed to create their own custom digital spaces, they now have access to sophisticated tools that, frankly, were previously out of reach for most, reserved only for those with enormous engineering budgets.
Right. This update dramatically shifts that governance capability into the hands of the network owners themselves, allowing them to truly manage and potentially monetize their proprietary ecosystems in new ways.
And this really raises several profound questions, I think, for you, the listener, to consider as you think about the future organizational structure of these Web4 communities.
For instance, since the AI democratizes institutional knowledge, handles complex ad hoc reports instantly, and automates many of those compliance checks with such speed, what does this new level of access actually mean for traditional organizational roles.
Yeah, if the marketing team can instantaneously run complex conversion funnel analysis, and frontline moderators can maybe initiate their own basic compliance audits, how does the job description of the dedicated business intelligence analyst or the internal compliance auditor evolve? Do those roles change fundamentally?
It seems like they must. And on the control side, how does the ability to strategically pause and effectively reset a culturally spiraling community change the fundamental responsibilities of digital community leadership?
Are they now, in a sense, arbiters of culture, empowered by this technology to enforce a cultural reset when things turn sour? Does that demand a whole new level of wisdom, foresight, and maybe even ethical consideration from network administrators?
It certainly seems to point that way. The technological tools for truly intelligent, responsive governance are now becoming available. The challenge now, perhaps, lies in how organizations integrate that speed and control into wise human decision-making.
A perfect thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into Linkspreed's V3.1 release. We'll see you next time.